You're standing in tall grass, and the grass is moving toward you. It is dusk, roughly 100,000 years ago, and you have just understood that you are not alone. Two eyes catch the last of the light, low to the ground, wide apart, patient. It is a cave lion. Nearly twice the size of any lion alive today. 300 kilograms of muscle that has spent its entire life learning how to turn an animal exactly like you into a meal. You have no claws. Your teeth are flat and useless in a fight. You cannot outrun it. You cannot climb fast enough to escape it. And if it decides to close that gap, there is almost nothing your soft body can do about it. By every rule of nature that counts out here, you should not walk away from this moment. And yet, somehow, you exist. Which means one of your direct ancestors stood exactly where you are standing, felt exactly this cold drop in the stomach, and lived. Not once, thousands of times, across thousands of generations, the weakest and slowest ape on the whole plain kept coming out the other side. So the real question is not why you are still afraid of the dark. The question is how something this soft, this slow, this breakable, ended up outlasting every single monster that was built to eat it. Before we talk about how we won, you have to understand how badly we were losing. Because for almost all of our history, humans were not the hunters. We were the meal. In 1949, in a South African cave called Swartkrans, two researchers pulled a small skull out of the rock. It belonged to a young human ancestor, a child. And in the back of that skull were two clean puncture holes. For years, people assumed it was murder. Another hominid, a weapon, some ancient act of violence. Then a paleontologist named C.K. Brain took a leopard's jaw from the very same cave deposit and held it up to the skull. The lower canines slid into the holes. Exactly. That child had not been murdered. That child had been carried, picked up by the head and dragged to a feeding place, the way a leopard drags a kill into a tree today. That was our place in the food chain. Something above us. And we were what it ate. And the things hunting us were not ordinary animals. Picture the cave lion again. Bigger than any lion you have ever seen, hunting in groups, unafraid of you in any way. Picture a sabre-toothed cat, built like a tank, ambushing from the grass and hitting like a truck before you registered it was there. Picture cave hyenas, larger and stronger than the ones alive today, hunting in packs of 20 or more, jaws that could crush bone, working at night when your weak eyes could barely tell shape from shadow. Picture the short-faced bear, an animal that could look a man in the eye while standing on all fours, long-legged, and built to run prey down across open ground. Everywhere our ancestors went, something was waiting. And here is the uncomfortable part. We were not equipped for any of it. Slower than the predators. Weaker, pound for pound, than a chimpanzee. An animal that has real fangs, can climb a tree in seconds, and still gets killed by leopards on a regular basis. Now take away the strength, take away the fangs, take away the climbing. That is you. Poor night vision. A mediocre nose. A body that stands upright and can be spotted from a kilometer away, and infants who scream and cannot walk for a year. On paper, we should have been a short, sad footnote in the fossil record of some smarter animal. Instead, every one of those predators is gone. And you are here, watching this. So what changed? If you're still here, hit subscribe. It's free. And it genuinely keeps a small channel like this alive. Now, back to the grass. The first answer is fire. In a cave in South Africa, we have signs of controlled fire going back roughly 1 million years. Burnt bone, layers of ash, hearths built in the same spot, again and again. And fire changed the entire game, because a fire is a wall that predators will not cross. It is written deep into their instincts. Even today, lions in Africa keep their distance from a flame. So for the first time, when the sun went down, our ancestors were not just prey hiding in the dark, holding still, praying to survive until morning. They had a circle of light that nothing wanted to enter. Inside that circle, you could sleep, you could plan, you could talk. Fire gave us back the night, and it did something else, something enormous. It let us cook, and cooked food gives up far more energy than raw food does, energy that fed a growing, expensive, increasingly clever brain. Fire did not just keep the monsters out. Fire helped build the mind that would eventually outthink them. Asset 3. Endurance. But fire stays in one place, and we needed to move. So the second answer is stranger. It is one of the oddest gifts your body carries. You're a terrible sprinter. A saber-tooth could hit top speed in a few seconds. You cannot. But there is one thing no predator on that landscape could do, and you can do it right now. You can keep going. Humans are built for endurance in a way almost nothing else on Earth is. Long, springy tendons that store and return energy with every step. A body with almost no fur and millions of sweat glands, which means you can shed heat while you keep moving, when nearly every other large animal has to stop, pant, and cool down. So our ancestors invented a kind of hunting that sounds impossible. You do not chase the animal. You follow it. You track it at a steady jog. You keep it moving. You never let it rest. It runs. It stops. It overheats. It runs again. And hours later, in the heat, it collapses, unable to cool itself, while you are still walking. You were never the fastest thing out there. You were the thing that would not stop. The third answer lives entirely in your head. Human brains are pattern machines. A snapped twig means something walked here. Turned soil means something dug here. The shape and depth of a track tells you what animal, how big, how long ago, which way it went. Our ancestors did to the predators exactly what the predators did to prey. They studied them. They learned that a certain cat hunted near water at dusk, that a certain animal avoided fire, that another was solitary and could be avoided if you knew its ground. And here is the multiplier. They told each other. Every dangerous lesson one person survived became knowledge the whole group carried. Every generation stacked new lessons on top of the old ones. No single predator could keep up with an enemy that pooled its memory like that. And once you can track a thing and think ahead of it, you can do something no predator can defend against. You can hit it from a distance. In Germany, we have found wooden throwing spears around 400,000 years old, carefully shaped, balanced, aerodynamic, built to be thrown. Read that again. 400,000 years ago, our ancestors were killing from range. One small human against a cave lion loses almost every time, but 5 humans, with spears, who have planned this, who can drive that animal toward a cliff and strike it from all sides at once. That is a completely different problem. We stopped being something you could safely hunt. We started being something that hunted back. But none of it, not the fire, not the endurance, not the spears, was the real weapon. The real weapon was each other. In a place called Dmanisi, in Georgia, researchers found the skull of an early human ancestor who had lost every tooth years before they died. No teeth means you cannot chew. It means you cannot process the food your body needs to stay alive out there. And yet, this person lived on for years after the last tooth was gone, which means someone else was feeding them. Softening their food, sharing their own, keeping a member of the group alive who could give almost nothing back in return. No lion does that. No hyena does that. A predator with no teeth simply dies. A human with no teeth gets carried. That is the line that separated us. We did not just cooperate the way a wolf pack cooperates, on instinct. We cared. We planned. We assigned roles. We talked through complex ideas. We sacrificed for people who could not repay us. A pack of animals is dangerous. A group of humans who share their food, their fire, their knowledge and their plans, and who refuse to let each other fall, is something the natural world had never faced before, and did not know how to fight. And then, slowly, the balance tipped. Around 50,000 years ago, humans began spreading across the planet in earnest, into Europe, into Asia, into lands no human had ever set foot in, and nearly everywhere we arrived, the giants started vanishing. The cave lions, the sabre-tooths, the short-faced bears, the great hunting packs. There is real debate among scientists about how much of that was us and how much was a changing climate. But the pattern is hard to look away from. Continent after continent, not long after people showed up, the huge predators faded out of the record. The animals that had eaten our ancestors for millions of years met the one creature that could learn faster than they could evolve. And they lost. For 2 million years, we were prey. We hid in trees. We froze at every sound in the grass. We lost children to the dark and could do nothing but grieve and keep moving. But we carried one thing no monster ever had. We could learn from what nearly killed us and teach the next ones not to make the same mistake. That is your ancestry. Not the strongest bloodline, not the fastest, not the fiercest, the one that remembered, that shared the fire, that came back the next night a little harder to kill. The fear you feel when the lights go out and something creaks in the dark is not weakness. It is a memory, hundreds of thousands of years deep, of a time when the dark really was full of things that wanted to eat you. Your ancestors felt that same fear, and they built a fire against it, or you would not be sitting here at all. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.